Hi, Messiah. I, like many parents right now, am just grieving normalcy. Especially this past week, my husband and I have been talking about what Easter will look like in these uncertain times. We don't have Easter outfits. We don't have anything to put in the plastic eggs. We are starting to sweat about Holy Week and how do we focus on Jesus and make sure that our kids know that that is the center of Easter and the purpose of Easter, and not let COVID-19 or traditions that we may not be able to fill this year, and just sort of see like how we can make sure that our kids are focused on Jesus this Easter. And what if they miss the point because we are not that great of teachers all the time, or we're homeschooling? And so now these times have caused us to have more family time, but it's also caused us to realize how much we rely on just the community, the church community, our school community, our family and friends, to instill faith-filled traditions in our household. So today I have Ryan and Renee here, our next gen team, and they are going to talk me through what Holy Week online and digital looks like for kids. First of all, I want to thank you all for putting all of the resources together. They are awesome. And it's been really cool to get to watch the videos and have conversations and things like that about Jesus in new and exciting ways that I haven't, really had the opportunity to explore some of those things. And so, what are the plans for Holy Week, and how will you help us connect to Jesus this week?
Yeah, sure. So kind of like what you're saying, Wesley, I think one of the most powerful parts of the Holy Week experience is those experiential moments that we add into them. Those like sensory opportunities, I think, really communicate the depth and the power of this whole week. And so I think back to my own childhood. I went to kind of more of an old school Lutheran church, and on Maundy Thursday, we'd have this tradition called the stripping of the altar, where you take everything off of it. It was just an empty altar. And mentally, I remember being like, okay, this is showing that something serious is about to happen, right? I remember asking my parents, like, why are they doing this? It's to show that, hey, Jesus is being taken away. Stuff's about to get real. And then, the next night we'd go back and it would be Good Friday. And that was even more powerful. I remember, you'd have the dim lighting, you'd have the candles. And then kind of at the end of the service, what my pastor would do is he would, slam his Bible shut, and it just signified the closing of the tomb. And it was a totally different kind of service. And I remember it just being so special because of those extra experiential moments. And then, of course, Easter morning, best part of Easter morning, those Cadbury cream-filled eggs, that once a year treat that I kind of wish you get them all the time, but it's kind of special that you can only get them this time of year. So just various different sensory things like that make Holy Week special. And we're doing it digitally right now, but we don't want to neglect those unique experiential opportunities. I think if we miss out on this week, if all we do this week is just give you, hey, here's some more information about God in a video, like we're missing out on an opportunity. We still want to give you not just information about God. We really want to give you an experience of God through this week. So Renee, she can actually probably give a little more information as to what that might look like.
Okay, yeah. But the other thing that we want to kind of stress is we're not going to make this a huge program that you have to do, or a long list of things, or, prep all of this so that you can have this, huge experience. It's going to be simple and hopefully a meaningful and a relevant way to just walk through Holy Week, incorporate a couple of actions in and some questions in each day that will help you relate to each other, that will help you think about your relationship with God and help build the excitement towards Holy Week. So, but just be very intentional about those so that it does build, and it does give them something that, oh yeah, I remember last year on Maundy Thursday, we did this instead of, going to church because we were at home. So just to try to build those moments and memories with something that's simple but meaningful. That's what our goal is going to be this week.
That sounds great. Simple is fantastic right now. And confession time, I also get overwhelmed and I feel often the need to overdo it to compensate for the fact that things aren't normal right now. I am just inundated with activities and things to do, and I'm not a Pinterest mom. So is it going to take a lot to carry out these plans and things?
No, actually, it's going to be designed to be during the things that you're normally doing. It's like during dinner time. Here's a couple of questions. For example, for Maundy Thursday, you talk about how Jesus had dinner with his friends the last thing before he was, went to the garden and then got arrested. So it could be a time for the kids to talk about and think about their friends and what they're missing and how they could reach out to their friends and what they're looking forward to doing with their friends. To just connect it to Jesus's experience and to connect with each other, just to have these meaningful discussions, hopefully. Or it could be, or if not during dinner time, if you've got younger kids, it could be like part of their bedtime routine is talk about, okay, what's the next step towards Easter today, and what's the next thing to think about getting ready for Easter.
And that sounds like something that fits for, like you said, younger kids, but it also, I just this whole time have been thinking about students, Ryan, and middle schoolers and high schoolers, and how they must just be in a very interesting place, missing all of their friends and all the interactions that they have. So how does this relate to students?
Sure. Yeah. In my conversations with other people in student ministry or friends of mine who are in education with that age, there's kind of been this universal understanding amongst all of us that, man, we're realizing that these students are missing out on opportunities to make some memories. We're all kind of remembering that stage of our lives and thinking about how many memories we make in the spring and summer months. Their spring break trips, their summer trips, mission trips, stuff that people were getting excited about, memories they wanted to make that, now they unfortunately don't get to make them. So our hope with this is, let's create a moment that you'll remember when it comes to Holy Week, right? I think a lot of people are going to remember that one Holy Week and that one Easter they spent at home with their families in their pajamas, wearing whatever they're wearing. That's going to be a moment that sticks out to them. So we want to enhance that. And I think, honestly, this actually works well, because the one thing that I've noticed throughout this process is that people are still people, and we aren't magically better at our time. We still feel like we're strapped for time, right? Well, thankfully, to me, I think the most powerful type of faith is also the most efficient kind of faith. Normally in our regular routines, we kind of segment and compartmentalize our faith. We have our normal everyday routines, and then we add Jesus stuff on top of that. I think a better method, I think a more effective way of living our faith, is not to have these two separate areas, but to instead incorporate Jesus and conversations about him into the rhythms of our life. One thing I tell our students is that it is better, instead of having Jesus time and your coffee, why not put the two together? Instead of having your quiet time and your time getting ready or walking in the morning, why not do the two together? It enhances the whole experience. And so that's what we're looking to do right now. We're having conversations with Jesus in the midst of dinner. We're talking to our friends and bringing Jesus into the mix. So that's kind of what we're encouraging there.
Sure. So I've noticed some themes that you're really focusing on relationships. You're focusing on getting Jesus to be the center of Easter and of dinner conversations where it may not have been before. And like I said, we all, are eating dinner and we're all stuck together. So we're all eating dinner together. And what a great opportunity to just use that time for meaningful conversations and faith-filled conversations. And I think that one thing that I've been reflecting on this week is just trusting God's timing. And it's not convenient to have a pandemic right now at all. I feel uneasy about not fully understanding what the future holds. But I also think that we can just continue to trust and follow Jesus straight to the empty tomb, and that assures our eternity with our loving Savior. Anything else to add?
Yeah, one thing that's been really comforting to me right now is just to remember that God knows our hearts, and he knows what's in our hearts and what's on our hearts. He knows when things are overwhelming to us, or the future is uncertain, or he can tell, or he knows when we desperately want to have a good experience for our family this Easter, and do well and have a good connection with our families, and our faith in God. And he sees that in our hearts. And I wanted to share a verse with you. It's from Psalm chapter 13. It's a great psalm. It talks about patience. The beginning of the song just asks God, "How long, God? How long?" Which is kind of funny right now. But the end of the psalm, Psalm 5 and 6, says this: "But I trust in your unfailing love. My heart rejoices in your salvation. I will sing to the Lord, for he has been good to me." And I just like to remember that, and just remember that God knows our hearts, and he wants to be with us in our hearts, and to bring our hearts peace and joy as we try to connect with our families this Easter and make it a meaningful experience for our families too.
Yeah, I think for me, when I look historically, the church has always shined brightest during moments of conflict. They really, in the days of the early church, showed the love and the calm and the presence of Jesus in the midst of literally pandemics. And so I just think, man, what a great opportunity for us to renew that spirit of love and care and focus and calm. And so let's do that again. Let's be that church that we read about back in the days of Acts and in the days of the early church.
Absolutely. So Ryan, what service are you looking forward to the most?
Definitely Good Friday. You two know me. I'm a candle person. You remember that time I got in trouble for having 14 lit candles in my office. So any opportunity I get to light some candles at home and make it a part of my Jesus time, that is something I look forward to.
One thing I'm looking forward to is we're sending out a video called Easter Jam, which is going to be a video experience that your family will get to share. And I previewed it, and it's actually a kind of unique video because as I was watching it, I thought, wow, this just kind of takes the pressure off the parents, because it walks through some activities. The one thing that you would have to do before watching the video would just be to get a couple of marshmallows, or if you have Peeps, a couple of Peeps and a couple of toothpicks. And that's about the extent of the preparation that it would take to do this with your family. And you just let the moderator on the video just walk you through the different activities, and they're kind of fun, something you get to do with your family. It tells the Easter story in a very creative way, puts a little bit of music in there, a couple of questions to talk about with your family, but it takes the pressure off of you as a parent. You just get to enjoy this with your family. So I'm kind of excited to hear how that goes.
I think Easter Jam sounds like so much fun, and also something great to fill for the weekends. I know now that everything's closed, there's a lot of extra time to do things, so that would be a great thing to try over the weekend to just really get us in the mindset of Easter. And I just want to thank you all for taking the time to talk with me today, and it did help put my mind at ease a little bit. And I also wanted everyone who's watching to know that tonight from 7 to 9 p.m., I will be online and available for you to text in. And the church number for you to text is 314-530-3610. So if you have any questions about these resources, if you have prayer requests, if you just want to tell someone what's on your heart, or tell us what you're thankful for, or what you're stressing out over, whatever you need, you can just send us a text tonight from 7 to 9 p.m. and I'll be online and able to respond to those texts, pray with you, whatever you need. Renee and Ryan, thank you so much.
It was good. Thank you.
See ya.
See ya.